Hey guys, welcome to Tyson's Fitness Tips Podcast. If you want to lose weight, increase your energy, improve your health and fitness, and look your best, then you have come to the right place. My name is Tyson Brown. I'm a personal trainer, and my job is to help you transform your body by sharing with you the most up-to-date information on health and fitness. I'm going to distill it all down for you into bite-sized actionable steps that you can take immediately to see results quickly. Now, every Tuesday and Thursday, you can expect a brand new episode, which will be a mixture of interviews with top experts from around the world in the fitness space, and as well as solo episodes from myself, sharing with you exactly what action steps you need to take to transform your health, your body, and your life. Also, don't forget to listen all the way to the end of the show, because in the middle, I'm going to share with you a time-saving tip, and it might just be a game changer. I know you're short on time, and this one can save you a lot of time and a lot of energy. So, let's get into the show. Hey guys, what's going on? It's been a while since you probably heard from me, and that's just because I have been over in New York having my trip. And I'm currently in my house, and I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go for a walk, and I just want to talk to you guys about what's been happening lately, because, you know, it has been a week since you've heard from me, and honestly, I want to keep this podcast going for you, but I thought I'd just change it up this week, because I actually haven't had any guests on, and I plan to record a couple of podcasts when I was on New York, but it just kind of got the best of me. So anyways, my first thoughts about this is I want to talk to you guys some good things and some bad things that happen in New York, and strategies that you can implement in your own life when it comes to these type of things. So, obviously, going over to New York, the first thing I kind of realized is that it doesn't matter whether you're traveling or, you know, whether you're at home, or it doesn't matter really what you're going to be doing. Health and fitness is always going to be a part of your life, and you can't just... Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure there's no wind getting to you guys. Like, you can't just decide that you're going to skip the gym or skip the nutrition or the healthy eating, because when you come back, that's really going to bite you in the ass. And I already knew that going into it. So the first thing I did that I want to share with you guys is that you've got to do some research and look what's going to be around where you're staying. Is there a gym that you can go and attend? Is there, like, you know, good healthy food places that you can go to? So the first thing I did when I booked my Airbnb is I checked where the closest gym was, and luckily there was one right across the road. But if there wasn't one across the road, there was the gym probably 2 blocks away, which is about, I'd say, about 500 meter walk. So it wouldn't have taken me long to be able to go to the gym every single day. And why is the gym so important when you're on holidays? Number one, you don't want to lose the progress you've made, because you're putting in all that hard work and effort, and it only takes about a week or two for you actually to start regressing. So the reason the gym's so important is because obviously going there to keep your routine, but also because you're going to be eating, let's be honest, you're going to be eating bad food most likely when you're on holidays. And if you're going to be eating bad food, you want to negate that effect and not get as negative effects. And the way to do that is to just go, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to train and exercise, because then at least some of the bad food is getting put into good use, as opposed to just being stored as body fat. So always looking, first of all, where is the gym? Where is the closest one to you? Is it around the corner? Is it a couple of streets away? Is it just like, you know, a small little one they've got in the bottom of the hotel that you're staying at? Like, it doesn't matter what it is, but if there's something there that's much, much more beneficial than obviously doing nothing while you're there. Now, once you figure out where the gym is, the next thing to do is it comes to nutrition. So for me, what I did is I looked up supermarkets that were going to be around. Now, obviously, I'm still going to be indulging and having fun while I'm going out when I'm on holidays, but for the majority of the time too, you still want to make sure you're getting good, nutritious food, because at the end of the day, just because you're on holidays doesn't mean you can eat like a pig every single meal. Otherwise, it is going to catch up with you, and you know that. And you know when you're coming back on the plane or from the trip, you're like, man, I shouldn't have eaten all that bad food. And you're carrying back extra kilos. So in order to avoid that, you look for a local supermarket, or you look for a health place that you can go to, and then you just have obviously 1 or 2 meals that are good and nutritious, and then you have a 3rd or 4th meal that's not going to be as good for you. So I'll give you an example for me. Like, most of my mornings was I went and bought a whole bunch of Greek yogurts and some fruit. So every morning it would be whole yogurt and fruit. Something simple, protein, healthy fats, and carbs. It was as simple as that. And then after that, what I decided to do was my lunch or my dinner, or if I was going to go somewhere, instead of actually just, catching the subway or driving or catching an Uber towards where I wanted to go, I would walk, because that way I would get a little bit more of an exercise in and I'd get some more steps in. So at the end of the day, I was walking like 20 to 40,000 steps depending on where I was going. And it was just making those small changes, but those small changes add up over time too. So when you are when you are going on holiday, just do a little bit of planning beforehand, because if you're looking at planning, where you're going to go and eat and where you're going to go on holiday and where you're going to go and explore, then doing a little bit of extra 10 minutes of looking in Google and saying gyms wherever you're going to stay, or restaurants or supermarkets wherever you're going to stay, even if it's something like Subway or Chipotle or something like that, something that's just going to be easy for you, like it's quick, it's easy, it's convenient, but it's still healthy for you, is much better than eating crappy food every single day, every single meal, and then wondering, and then coming back and then feeling guilty and being like, oh man, I've put on 5 kilos or I've put on 10 kilos or whatever it is, and feeling horrible about yourself. Because for me, for that 14 days I was over there, or 13 days, I only managed to put on I'd say about 600 grams to a kilo, and that's just because I followed the principles that I'm talking to you guys about today. So after you've planned, where a healthy food store is or a supermarket, and after you figured out where the gym is, then you want to figure out where you're going to go and enjoy yourself. So for me, I wanted to go to a place called Katz's Deli, which had the best pastrami sandwiches ever, okay? And so this deli was an hour and 15-minute walk away from where I was staying. So that was actually a really good walk for me to go down there, walk, have it, and then walk all the way back. And at the end of the day, that ended up being an extra, about 2.5 hours of walking that I added in. And I got to have the food I enjoy without having that guilty feeling afterwards, being like, oh my God, I just ate this crappy food. Because you still want to go and enjoy yourself, but you want it to be less detrimental. And yes, you can have both. You can have your cake while you're there and eat it too, as long as you're doing the right type of things. And that's what I was doing every day. Whenever I was having a look of where am I going to eat or what do I want, I'd have a look at how far away it is. I would see if it was easy for me to go and, go to be able to walk there. Obviously, if it was 2 hours or something crazy, then no. But if it was an hour or so walk, you're exploring the city anyway. You get more opportunity to take roads here and there to go and have a look what's in the city in the meantime, and then you get to your destination, especially somewhere like New York. There was just things to see the whole way. I could take one street up and I could see a whole bunch of stuff, and then on the way back down there's a whole bunch of other stuff in another street. So there's always something there to go and explore while I'm actually on my travel too. So that was a really cool bit of experience to go and eat the food, but also just see what was around, especially going down all the streets. So apart from walking to your place, having a look where you're going to be eating, having a look where you're going to be doing the gym, things like that. When it comes to the gym, I know a lot of people probably don't want to exercise because they're on holiday mode, they want to make sure they get the most out of it. So wake up a little bit earlier, or after everything else is closed, and then do your exercise. Clearly you don't want to do it in the prime time of the day when you can be out and exploring, going to see museums, going to do your holiday stuff. But if you do it before anybody else is awake, or before any of the tourist stuff opens, then you've got that opportunity to knock it out of the way nice and early, or after everything's closed. Then the rest of the day you have the opportunity to go and do your holiday stuff, to go and do those touristy things when you're supposed to be. But so that's why I always say, hey, who wants to exercise in the middle of the day? No one, including myself. I'd rather be doing the touristy stuff. So make sure that you just do it when touristy stuff isn't on. You do it in the morning or you do it late afternoon. It's really up to you. And another really good point that I think will really help you guys is not just when it comes to all that stuff, that's good, but when it comes to actually eating, even if you can fast a little bit longer. So if you're currently doing a 14-hour or a 16-hour fast, if you can fast, 18, 20 hours, whatever it is, because you're going to have a bad meal and it's going to be a lot, then that's going to be less detrimental for you, because the longer you fast, the less calories you can consume, right? So let's say, okay, you're going to some crazy dinner. Let's say you're going to go for chicken and waffles, okay? So for one day, you're going to go somewhere and have chicken and waffles. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do that in New York, even though I wanted to, But let's say you're going to go and have chicken and waffles. So chicken and waffles are very, very obviously full of calories, fats, carbs, a little bit of protein from the chicken, but more fats and carbs. So if you're like, you know what, that's going to be my big meal for the day. I'm going to fast all day. I'm going to be walking around. I'm going to be active. You're going to be burning that fat. And then at the end of the day, it's not going to be as detrimental when you have that meal, because it's only one meal. You have it and you're good. And you might even have some ice cream after, you might even go for that a little bit extra. But that's much better than having breakfast and lunch and then having the chicken waffles on top, because like I said, all of those calories add up at the end of the day. And they're going to be the biggest rocks for you guys to start moving, like that was the big things for me that I just thought about when I started when I planned where I was going to go, when I planned where my gym was, when I planned where the healthy food was. I wasn't as stressed, you would say, like when it comes to being able to eat bad food, because I knew it wouldn't negatively impact me as much. Plus, coming back on the way, now that I've weighed myself, now that I'm back in home, it actually wasn't that detrimental, and I'm glad, because I was just constantly weighing myself when I was there too, just to do little check-ins so you can make sure, because the last thing you want is to come back on the plane, you're sitting there with your seatbelt, you look down at your stomach and you're like, oh shit, I've got to do a lot of hard work when I get back, because there is nothing worse than having to, especially try and pick back up the momentum, especially after something like that. So there's my little thoughts that I thought would be helpful for you guys. I'm going to get some more guests back on, obviously, to the podcast. I know this one's a little bit different, but I just thought, you know what, you guys need an update, because I have been MIA and you still need something there to keep you guys going, and I'm still committed to giving you content every single week. Okay guys, I just thought I would add on this little extra part for you. Actually, I might even make this a separate one. I'll see how I go. But speaking about New York, another thing I want to share with you guys about things I did on the plane to avoid a lot of negative things that happen with obviously long-term sitting, but also when you sit for long periods of time, some people get a sore back, some people get dead legs, you get off the plane and you feel miserable. So I want to share with you some really simple tips that I used while I was on the plane, what I was doing beforehand, just to kind of make sure that I was still in good condition for when I landed and when I got back, because that way I was feeling good. I wasn't, trying to catch up from the jet lag. Even though it did give me a little bit, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So I thought this would be really helpful for you guys. Now, let's talk about before I actually went to New York. So before going to New York, the first thing that I did was I had to catch a plane at, what time was it? 9 a.m. So I had to be there at 7 a.m., right? Which meant that my gym wasn't open. But because I was going to be sitting on a plane for 22 hours, I didn't want to just be sitting on my ass doing nothing. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Like, am I going to try and go to 24-hour gym and see how I go there? But I was like, you know what? No. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a 2-hour walk or an hour and a half walk before I get on the plane. It actually ended up being 2 hours. So what I did is I woke up earlier. I decided to go for a walk in the morning. Walked as far as I could in one direction, which was like all the way down, if you don't know Sydney. But it was far, right? It was about 45 minutes one way, then 45 minutes the back, and then I did a couple of loops around near my street. So it ended up being about 2 hours. So then by the time that I got to the plane, I had already done 10,000 steps. Now, because you've got to get there 2 hours earlier, so I had to get there at 7, I still had 2 hours to kill. So all I did is I walked around the duty-free section, moved my legs a little bit, and just kind of, I didn't sit down, wait for the plane for 2 hours, to get on a plane, to sit for another 22 hours, because that's the worst thing you can do. So I was just as active as possible before I actually got on the plane. And that's a big thing I think you guys need to be aware of, is that you don't just sit on your ass. You don't wake up in the morning, plotter around the house, sit on your ass on the Uber till you get to the airport, check in, sit on your ass until you get on the plane, sit on your ass for the 22, because honestly, that is the worst thing you could ever do. So just the first thing I'd always say is just keep active before, you don't have to go into a weight session or anything like that, because you don't want to be sore on the plane, but just keeping active and doing something is better than doing nothing, okay? Now, the second thing I did was I set an alarm for every 50 minutes, because long-term sitting is really bad for you, right? And you don't want to be sitting for prolonged periods of time. So every 50 minutes, I set my alarm. I got up, I walked to the back of the plane, I either took a pee or I did some stretches, and then I just simply walked back. Like, it was really, really simple. Maybe I was doing, I don't know, 10, 20 steps and then some stretches, and that was about it. But I was getting up and I was moving my body every 50 minutes, and then I was stretching, because the key thing is that when you get on a plane, your certain muscles start to tighten up, and that's why we get lower back pain. So stretching out the hip flexors, stretching out my quads, stretching the glutes, you know, just standing in that little galley area and stretching my muscles was really, really helpful, especially to avoid that lower back pain, because I'm prone to getting it. So doing some stretching was really, really good. And like I said, every 50 minutes, I'd watch a movie, I'd do 50 minutes, like I'd pause the movie, get up, walk around, go back and finish watching the movie. And this really helped because I drank a lot of water. So obviously I had to keep getting up to go and pee every 50 minutes to an hour. But at least that way you had that incentive there, because one thing that happens is we get dehydrated on the plane, and you may not realize it, but your body can get dehydrated really, really quickly. So drinking as much water as possible while you're on the plane is really, really key too. I highly suggest, is they give you the water bottles. You can't really take your own on there unless you go through customs, but take a water bottle, get as much water as you can on there, just drink as much liquid as you can to keep yourself hydrated. So you have to get up, you have to keep peeing, it's a reminder you're not sitting down long periods of time, and that's a really key thing. Now obviously when you fall asleep, you're not going to wake up every 50 minutes, right? But that's why I'm saying do it as often as you can, because then when you do sleep, you're obviously going to be asleep, so you're not going to be waking up, but at least you get in as much movement as you can when you're awake. And to be honest, most people don't sleep that well on a plane anyways. I don't know if you do, but I cannot. So I got a little bit of sleep in, but most of the time it was just hydration, it was just walking and stretching, and that way I didn't have lower back pain. Now one more thing I did on the plane, which I think is really, really key, is to do a 24-hour fast. Because I was going from Australia to New York, the time zones were different, right? And what I wanted to do is I wanted to sync my body up as soon as possible to the new time zone. So one cue we have to tell our body that it's daytime is actually eating food. And so when you eat food, let's say at 12 o'clock here or 8 o'clock here, whatever it is, it's telling your body, hey, it's daytime, it's time to start moving. But if it's 12 o'clock over here, it's completely different over in New York, right? So what I did is I did a full 24-hour fast on the plane. Number one, to avoid the crappy food that they give you on the plane, because honestly, you know none of it's good for you. It's all carbs and fats and little snacks like Carmen's bars and Tim Tams and stuff like that. So being able to avoid that is a positive. Number two, as soon as I got off the plane from America, it was actually 5 o'clock at night, right? 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I ended up fasting until the next day, and then I ate. So I fasted for a long period of time, but then when I ate, that helped sync my body back into rhythm and say, hey, this is actually daytime now. So that was a really good key that you can do if you ever go to fast. If you ever go to travel, fast until it's a normal wake time in the time zone you're going to. So those were the things that I did before and on the plane. Now, after I got off the plane, a key thing I did, as soon as I got off the plane, I made sure that I had my blue blocking sunglasses on. Now that sounds weird, but I wanted to say to my brain, hey, it's still night time. So anyways, I went to bed, I woke up the next morning. The first thing I did, I went out, got some sun directly on my eyes. I went out and then I made sure that I was walking barefoot on the grass to ground myself, because those two key things help you align with the new circadian rhythm and the new time zone. So walking, sun on the eyes, barefoot. I had my black coffee, because obviously coffee is another signal to say to your body, hey, it's daytime, since you don't really, you wouldn't be drinking that at night, most of you anyways. And then the last thing I did was then I broke my fast. So walking barefoot on the park, get some grass, whatever it is, so you can go barefoot, you line up with circadian rhythm, you drink some coffee, you get some sun on your eyes, and you have your meal. That's going to help you get into the new time zone, and your body is going to sync up a lot quicker, and you're going to avoid that jet lag, as opposed to if you were just trying to go off a new rhythm all of a sudden and trying to throw your body into a whole new world, because changing time zones is very, very stressful for the body, obviously. So you don't want to be doing that all the time, but also you want to help it recover as quick as possible. So when you do those certain things, fasting, sun, going to sleep at the right time, all those things, you're going to recover a lot quicker. And the best thing was, when I did that coming back from Sydney, I literally recovered the next day. So I arrived back in Sydney at 6:30 in the morning. I went out, put some sun on my eyes, went to the park across the road, did some grounding, had my coffee, ate. I actually exercised just a little bit, nothing too crazy. Just went and did some exercise, and my body has already been back in the sync. So it has been great, and I highly recommend, if you want to avoid the jet lag, you just do those certain things. And to avoid the pain on the plane, that rhymes, I didn't mean it to, just do exactly what I talked to you about. Stretch, get up every 50 minutes, keep yourself active before and after, and you are going to be saving yourself a lot of pain, a lot of struggle with the jet lag, and you're going to be feeling great when you travel. All right, guys, that is it. I hope you're having a great week, and I'll speak to you next time. Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast. I really appreciate it. Now, I've got a special gift for you. If you want to learn how I managed to lose 10 kilos and keep it off, then I've got the perfect treat for you. I've got a free intermittent fasting cheat sheet that I share on my website that shows you exactly how to diet effortlessly with intermittent fasting and fit it into your busy lifestyle. And more importantly, this is the exact guide that I follow every single day that allowed me to lose 10 kilos of body fat and keep it off 4 years later. So head on over to www.tysonbrown.com.au and pick up your free cheat sheet today and learn how to fit intermittent fasting into your life and diet effortlessly. Once again, that's www.tysonbrown.com.au. Opt in for the free cheat sheet and I'm going to send it straight to your inbox for free. Until next time, speak to you guys then.